When can putting a home inside of a trust be an expensive mistake? Today we're going to talk about the difference between putting your home in a revocable trust versus an irrevocable trust, and one important thing that you need to know when considering this with your financial team. So the reason that we're talking about this, I got a call from essentially a family whose parents owned a home. The father had recently passed away. When he passed away, they wanted to move that home, or did move that home, into an irrevocable trust, which the mother then lived in. The reason they put it into an irrevocable trust is they were told that that would help them with estate taxes, getting it out of the family's estate. And the mother lived there for a while. She recently passed away. They got a surprise tax bill on all the gains for that property. The property had gone up dramatically in value. They had owned it for decades. And they thought they were going to get a step up in basis, which means the value of the property at death becomes the new cost basis, and you would owe no taxes if you were to sell that property. Now, if they would have put that in a revocable trust for the benefit of the mother, that would have been the case. But instead they put it in an irrevocable trust. And that is the primary distinction that I want to talk about briefly today. So for most people, when you're talking about putting a home in a trust, you have to figure out, what are you doing this for? If you want to do things like avoid probate, right, maintain some form of control, a revocable trust does just fine. The challenge becomes when you start moving into areas and you start hearing things like saving money on estate taxes. What that usually means is taking an asset out of your estate, losing control, and giving up ownership. And the problem with giving up ownership when it comes to a home is you, as the grantor, right, your family would get a step up in basis if it were owned by you at death. But a trust is not a person, it's an entity. And entities, for the most part, don't get a step up in basis. And so while you were trying to protect from one kind of tax, being the estate tax, you ended up subjecting yourself or your family to a whole nother kind of tax, which is the capital gains tax. Now, in this particular situation, the truly unfortunate part is they were not subject to estate taxes anyways. The exclusions right now are quite large. Now, of course, that can always change. And so by trying to avoid one tax, they exposed themselves to another, specifically capital gains taxes, because they gave up that step up in basis, which you lose if you transfer an asset outside of your estate into an irrevocable trust. So what's the point here? The point here is you don't want to make that mistake, and you want to be talking with your team and say, what are the gimmies and the gotchas here when we're talking about putting any sort of asset, whether it's investments, business, real estate, into a trust, being revocable and irrevocable. There are costs and there are benefits for each, and you just need to understand that you are clear and know what's best for you and your family. Thanks for investing your time with the Personal CFO.